trapezium rule. How does the trapezium rule state? Area using trapezium rule is equal to a half h into y naught plus yn, you cross the bracket, plus 2 into y1 plus y2 plus y3 plus mpaka y is equal to n minus 1. You close the bracket, you open the big bracket. Now this gives the area using a trapezium rule, that one. But now, one thing we must be very clear about is the height. How do we get the h? Very important now. H is equal to xn minus x naught divided by number of trapezium. Divided by number of trapezium, or number of strips. When you are given, use 4 strips, use 5 strips, use 4 trapezium, use 5 trapezium, you just find the value of x, the end, the final, the initial value of x, and then you subtract. You get you divide by this. Or h is equal to xn minus x naught divided by n minus 1. Whenever we are using this formula n minus 1, what is n minus 1? N is equal to number of ordinates. When you are given that, use 5 ordinates. Use 5 ordinates to estimate. Whenever you see the word ordinates, 5 ordinates, 6 ordinates, then you should be able to use this formula to get the value of h. So let us look at an example. I think once we do the example, you will be able to estimate. So the x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 8. The range is 0 to 8. So x naught is the value of x, the largest value of x, the biggest number x value, that is 8. X naught is 0, the first in the range, the first number in the range. The last number in the range is the xn. The first number in the range is the x naught. So we substitute xn minus x naught is 8 minus 0 divided by number of trapezia, which is 8. And 8 divided by 8 is 1. So our h is equal to 1. Why is this important? It is important now when we are going to draw the table. So we draw now the table x and y. What is y? Y require x square. Y require x square plus x minus 6. So we draw the table of values of x, and we will get the values of x, the values of y. So you draw the table like this. So values of x, we are starting at 0. So our width itakuwa 1 1 1 because our h is 1. So the width lazima ikuwe uniform ni 1 1. So it is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Tunafika 8. because that's where the range reaches. That's where our range is reaching. Now we will need to get the value of y. How do you get the value of y? You substitute, unaleta hii number za x, una substitute mahali unaona x kwa y. So like here we put 0, 0. So the answer is going to be negative 6. You put 1 here, 1 square plus 1, that is 2, minus 6, it is going to be negative 4. So you put it all, you do like you substitute all the way to the end. 14, 24, 36, 24, 36, 50, 66. So that now you fill the table. Now what we have here is now y naught, y1, y2, y3, y4, y5, y6, y7, and y8. That's what we have there now. Next, now is to apply the formula. The formula says area is equal to a half h into y naught plus yn, you close the bracket, plus 2 into y1 plus y2 plus y3 ikienda the way to yn minus 1. Now I want to explain yn minus 1 namaanisha nini. Y naught ni y ya kwanza, so itakuwa negative 6, ni 6. Yn ni ile ya mwisho 8, ile yenye iko kwa 8 hapa, that is the, hiyo ndio yn hii. Y8 ndio yn. So hapa tunaenda kuweka value of y8 hapa. Sawa? So yn minus 1, n is 8, so minus 1 is 7. So inamaanisha kwa hii formula tunaweka values za y hapa ndani mpaka mahali tunafika 8 minus 1. So 8 minus 1 means 7. Tunafika kwa 7 na tutaweka 8 tena. This is a half times 1, open the big bracket or small bracket, y naught is 6. Now when you are putting the numbers inside here, the formula, don't put the negative. Assume the negative because area cannot be negative. Therefore, you assume the negative. Plus 4 plus the last one is 66. You cross plus 2 into y1. y1 is negative 4, so 4 plus 0 plus 6 plus 14 plus 24 plus 36 plus 50, and that is the final. So tumefanya n the final minus 1, which is 7. So hatutaenda 66, tunafika hapo. So n yn minus 1 means unafika kwa 7. Kama hapa ilikuwa 8, 9 unafika kwa 8. Kama ilikuwa 10 unafika kwa 9. That is what it means. This is the same as a half. Half times 1 is a half. So this one is 72 plus, multiply everything here. This is going to be 2 into, ukiongeza hizi zote naleta 134. Is equal to a half, big bracket, 72 plus 268. So you finish everything in the bracket before you come outside. And this one will be a half times 340. And this one will give us 170 square units. 170 square units. And that is the area. We have approximated the area using the Trapezium rule. I want to do one example on the Trapezium rule, and then we do another example for the mid-ordinate. In our example 2, estimate the area bounded by the curve y is equal to x squared plus 4. The x-axis and the lines x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 3. And this, once you are given, you should be able to notice is the range starting from 1, x is equal to 1 starting from 1, and x is less than 3 in range. Using the trapezium rule with 5 ordinates, mark that. That's where you draw a line. 5 ordinates. Now that gives you the formula you are going to use to get h. Now h in this case, we are going to find that because that's where we need to start. So h is equal to x naught minus x0, xn minus x naught divided by, now, number of ordinates, which is n minus 1. So now xn is equal to, the final range is 3. X naught is equal to, here to answer now, 1. And then n minus 1 will be equal to 5 minus 1. So here we have 3 minus 1 over 5 minus 1. So it is 2 over 4. And this is 0 0.5. 2 over 4. And that is 0 0.5. 0.5. Now, this is our width and this is our h, which is going to guide us on how to draw the table. H is important because you need to guide how to draw the table. So the first thing you want to calculate in h. So x y is equal to x squared plus 4. Now, we have the values of x. We start from 1. That's where we are beginning at. So we begin at 1. But tunafaa kuenda, so mwingine atatoka hapa 1 aende 2, juu anaona ni 1, 2, 3, 4. No. What is guiding us is the height, the width. So it is 1, and the next one now will be 1.5. Yes, and then from there, 2.0. And then from here, you can put 2 decimal places. This one is going to be 2.5. And then 3.0. Because tulifaa kufika 3, 3 was our final range. That's where we will stop. Then the value of x now you substitute here. If you substitute 1 here, it's going to be 5. Yeah? You substitute that part on 5 because this is 1 plus 4. Yes, it equals 4. So it equals 5. That is correct. It equals 5. And then you substitute here. That is, it will be 6.25, 8, 10.25, 10.25, and then 3, it equals 13. This will be our y1, not y1, y2, y3, y4. Go back to the formula and apply the formula now. Area, trapezium rule is given by a half h into open bracket, small bracket yn or y naught plus yn, n can start, plus 2 into y1 plus y2 all the way to yn minus 1. If that is the case, then you need to, if that is the case, now what you need to do is to do what? Is to insert the values. This is a half times 0.5. You open the big bracket. Y naught is our 5 here, plus yn is the last one, which is 13. You close the bracket plus into 2 into. The y1 is 6.25 plus 8 plus 10.25. So tutafika kwa 10 plus 12.5, that is 3 minus you subtract 1 from to the left. So you cross and then you cross. So 0.5, this one is like 0.5 over 2 in outside. Nimepiga 1 times 0.5 ni 0.5 divide by 2. Iongeza hii na hii itakuwa 18 plus 2 into, ongeza hizi zote. Get the total here. Get the total inside here. And the total is 24.5. 24.5. 24.5 times 2 is 49. So we have 0.5 over 2, step by step. This times this, we have 18 plus 49. 0.5 over 2 times, the total here now is 67. And this one will give, use your calculator, it will give you 16.75 square units. And that is how you get your area very comfortably like that. Very comfortably like that. Let me take you through mid-ordinate. It is the same thing. Once you have understood this one, mid-ordinate now is the simplest. Is the simplest. One example for the mid-ordinate rule. Mid-ordinate. Mid-ordinate is the simplest. Area is equal to h, hakuna half kwa mid-ordinate, y1 plus y2 plus y3 plus y4 all the way to y is to n. As simple as that. This one is the simplest, doesn't have much issue. So first, we need to get, how do you get h? H you will get the same way we have done. Xn minus h is equal to xn minus x naught over number of strips or number of trapezium. That's how you get h. That's how you get the h in the first, or h is equal to x naught minus xn minus x naught divided by n minus 1, where n is equal to number of ordinates. The same thing we have done, right? So I will use an example. Estimate the area under the curve y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3, and the x-axis and the lines, x is equal to -1 and x is equal to 3, using mid-ordinate rule, with what? With 5 ordinates. With 5 ordinates. Estimate the area under the curve. This is under the curve, y is equal to this, and the x-axis and the lines, this is equal to that, using mid-ordinate rule with 5 ordinates. With 5 ordinates. Very important. Solution. First, get the value of h. So h is equal to x naught, xn minus x naught over n minus 1 kwa sababu nimepewa ordinates. So itakuwa 3 minus, but the other value is negative 1. You divide by 5 minus 1. Negative times negative is 4 over 4, and our age is 1. So that gives us the table that we are going to draw. So we need to start our table at negative 1. We need to start our table at negative 1, and then 0, and then 1, 2, like that. So these are the ordinates. But what are the mid-ordinates? The mid-ordinates ni ile iko katikati hapa, yenye iko hapa. Kuna hii yenye iko hapa pitu. So these are the things that we want. Hizi zenye ziko hapa katikati. So we will draw the ordinates first. X, y is equal to x square minus 2x minus 3. X, our first x starts at negative 1. We don't need that. What we need is the ordinate here. And then the next one will be 0, because from here we go to 0. You jump 1, and what you're jumping is the mid-ordinate. Then from there 1, jump 1, or skip 1 line, and then we go to 2, 2.5, and then 3. So what I have here, these are the ordinates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ndio maana tuliambiwa 5 ordinates. Naelewana? These are the ordinates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we want the mid-ordinates. So what is between negative 1 and 0? What is between 0 and 1? Mid. Mid ni katikati. So we are interested in the mid. So the mid here is negative 0.5. And that is what I want. The mid between 0 and this is 1 is 0.5. And that is what I want. The mid between 1 and 2 is 1.5. And that is what I want. The mid between 2 and 3 is 2.5. And that is what I want. So I'm going to find the values of A of y in the mid-ordinates, and not in the ordinates. Right? Not in the ordinates, but in the mid-ordinates. So here, substitute negative 0.5 in the equation, and you will find that the answer is going to be negative 1.75. Substitute here, you will find that the answer is negative 3.75. Substitute here, and you will get the answer is negative 3.75. Substitute here, and you will get the answer is negative 1.75. So here, this is our y1, y2, y3, and y4. Nice. The next now, area is equal to y1 h into y1 plus y2 plus y3 all the way to yn, mahali inaishia. So our h is 1 into y1, negative assume, that is 1.75 plus 3.75 plus 3.75 plus 1.75. That is our h. Now 1 times anything that is in a bracket is that whatever is in the bracket. So 1 times something is something. So 1 times everything here. So we are 1 into the total, which is 11. So 1 times 11, the answer is 11. So the answer is 11 square units. 11 square units. So once you have calculated this one, now you can get the percentage error. You can be asked to calculate the actual area of this curve. The actual area is obtained by integration. So you integrate and get the area from negative this to this. So to get the percentage error, now there you will do, if you know how to do the percentage error. So when you integrate this curve, you will get 2x x square minus 2x minus 3 from negative 1 to 3, you will get the actual, you will get the exact area. So to get the percentage area, to get the percentage error, so percentage error will be area by integration minus area by approximation. So approximation inaweza kuwa umetumia mid-ordinate ama trapezium rule. The area obtained by approximation, everything here divided by what? Divided by area by integration. By integration, that is the exact integration, and then times 100. That one will give you, in fact inakuanga absolute. Hata ikiwa negative, you don't care. So this one is absolute, and this one will give you the percentage. So for example, let me assume the area for integration ilikuwa, the exact area is 12.5 square units. The area by mid-ordinate nimepata ni 11. So it is this minus this divided by the original, which is 12.5, and then absolute times 100. So this one will be 1.5 over 12.5 times 100. And the percentage error, you press your calc. You press your calc. 1.5 divided by 12.5, you get the answer, and then times 100. So that one will give you 12%. That's a very big, huge error, but I'm just using an example how you will do it. This is just an example. It might not have that big the percentage in an error. A line L1 passes through the point 3, 3 and 5, 7. Find the equation of L1 in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So for us to form an equation, what we need a gradient. Since we have the 2 points, we can get a gradient of this line L1. So gradient is equal to change in y over change in x. The gradient is equal to change in y over change in x. So we take the 3 points. We have, this is x, this is y, this is x, this is y. So we take the first y, which is 7. Change means you subtract 3. You divide by the change in x. So we start with 5 minus 3. So this gives us 4 over 2. 4 over 2 is the same as 2. Now, since we have the gradient, now we know the gradient is given by this, and this is an equation actually. So therefore, we will say, now we take point xy, which is the general point, and one of the points we can even take 3, 3, and our gradient is equal to 2. Now we can form an equation knowing that gradient is equal to change in y over change in x. So y, we take y minus one of the point, that is y, 3, divided by x minus y minus 3 divided by x minus 3, and this one will give us the gradient, which is 2. So we can put over 1 so that we can cross multiply. 1 into y minus 3 cross is equal to 2 into x minus 3. So this is y minus 3 is equal to 2x minus 6. You open the bracket. So y, take this to the other side. You have y is equal to 2x minus 6, sorry, y is equal to 2x minus 6 plus 3, because this one is negative here. Once it crosses the equal signs, it becomes positive. Therefore, y is equal to 2x negative 6 plus this, the answer is negative 3. And that is the equation of line L1. Another line, L2, is perpendicular to L1 and passes through negative 2, 3. Find the equation of L2. So since the two lines L1 and L2 are perpendicular, then we know that their gradient is going to be m1 times m2. The answer should be negative 1. Perpendicular lines, when you multiply their gradient, the answer should be negative 1. Now we know the gradient of L1 is equal to 2. If they are perpendicular, you should also remember that the gradient of the other line is the reciprocal of the other, and the sign, if the first one is negative, the second one will be positive, and if the first one is positive, the other one will be negative. So the other gradient, so the gradient of L2 will be equal to negative 1 over 2, the reciprocal of the first one. And since the first one was positive, so the other one will be negative. Or you can do it like m1 times m2, the answer should be negative 1. We have 2, which is m1, times m2 we are looking for is equal to negative 1. Now divide by 2, therefore m2 is equal to a half negative. So you can as well do it like that. So the gradient of line L2 is negative 1.5. Now we are looking for the equation. Find the equation. But we have told that the line L2 passes through this point. Now we have the point negative 2, 3. We have the general point x, y. And we have the gradient, which is negative 1/2. So what you do, y minus 3 over x minus 2. The answer is negative 1/2. Right? A negative times a negative. A negative times a negative, the answer is positive. So this is positive. So cross multiply, we will multiply 2 into y minus 3, this times this, is equal to negative 1 times x plus 2. Right? Next one, let's open the bracket. 2y minus 3 is equal to minus 6, sorry. 2 times y, 2y. 2 times negative 3, negative 6 is equal to negative 1 times x, negative x. Negative 1 times 2, minus 2. So let's put this one to the other side. 2y is equal to minus x minus 2 plus 6. Because this one is negative, on this side it will be positive. So 2y is equal to minus x plus 4. Because negative 2 plus 6, the answer is positive 4. So this one is an equation. You can leave it there because we were not given any condition like in the first one we were told in this form. But for this one, we were not given any condition, so we can as well leave our equation at that point. Or you can divide by this, so we have y is equal to minus 1 over 2x plus 2. Also, this one is acceptable. Find the x-intercept of line 2. Now we have the equation of line 2, which is y to y equal to negative x plus 4. But you need to remember that at the x-intercept, y is equal to 0. y is equal to 0. So now you bring this knowledge and substitute whenever you see y in the equation, you substitute with 0 where you see y. So here is going to be 0 is equal to b minus x plus 4. Bring this here, so it means x is equal to 4. So the x-intercept is equal to 4. The x-intercept is equal to 4. Determine the point of intersection of L1 and L2. These two lines are meeting. So if L1, at this point where L1 and L2 meet at this point, the value of y is going to be the same. So you can now solve the two equations simultaneously and you get the point of intersection where they are meeting. So take the equation of L1. L1, the equation is equal to y is equal to 2x minus 3, and the L2, we know the equation is 2y is equal to minus x plus 4, right? So you can solve this one using simultaneous equation. You get the value of x and the value of y, and that is the point where they intersect. So 2y is equal to minus x plus 4. That is our equation 1. Y is equal to 2x minus 3. That's our equation 2. We can solve this equation simultaneous using simultaneous using elimination method, substitution. You can solve these two simultaneous equations using substitution, elimination method, either of them, to get the value of x and y. I'm going to use substitution. You see the second equation is already y is equal to this. So I'm going to take the value of y here and substitute up there. So I'm going to say 2y, but instead of y, I will put y, which is 2x minus this, into 2x minus 3. Because this is y is equal to minus x plus 4. Yes. Next, open the bracket. 4x minus 6 is equal to minus x plus 4. Like terms together, and take this to the other side. So this one is going to be 4x plus x is equal to 4 plus 6, meaning that 5x is equal to 10. So you divide it by 5 both sides. You find that x is equal to 2. So if x is equal to 2, then y is equal to 2x, which is 2 minus 3. Therefore, y equal to 4 minus 1 minus 3, and the answer is 1. So the point of intersection will be x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 1. Therefore, the point xy is 2, 1. That is the point of intersection. Two vertices of a triangle ABC are A and B as shown. Find the equation of line AB. So we want to get the equation of a line. So ili tupata ni equation of a line na tumepewa points ya A and B, kitu ya kwanza tunatafuta ni gradient. So first we need to get the gradient of AB. Gradient of a line is given by change in y over change in where? In x. So let us change our y. Hizi coordinate tukipewa hivi, the first one ni x, ya pili ni y. The first one ni x, ya pili ni y. So now we are changing y, so that is 12 minus 6. Nimeanza na hapa na unaanza tena huko, so itakuwa 7 minus 3. So the gradient is now 12 minus 6 is 6, 7 minus 3 is 4. This is the same as 3, 2 here 3, 2 here 2. So the gradient is 2 over 3 of AB. So once tukishapata gradient, sasa tunachukua one of the point. Tunaweza chukua any point. Tuchukue 3,6 na the general point which is x, y. Na gradient yetu ni 3 over 2. Now we can get now, tunajua gradient is equal to change in y over change in x. But the gradient tumepata ni 3/2. So tunasema change in y ni y minus 6 divided by x minus 3, and the answer is 3/2. Tuna cross multiply, itakuwa 2y minus 12 is equal to 3x. A times a minus a times a itakuwa minus 9. So 2y itakuwa 3x negative 9 plus 12. 2y itakuwa ngapi? Itakuwa 3x plus 3. Finally y, so we divide by 2, so we have y is equal to 3/2x plus 3/2, and that is the equation of line AB. Hiyo ndio equation ya line AB. Find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of line AB. So the perpendicular bisector of line AB, hiyo ni line ambayo ina bisect hapa katikati. This line is now perpendicular to AB. We know perpendicular lines, the relationship of their gradient. Lakini before even we do that, we must first get what will be the point here, the midpoint. So we need to get the point here at the center, mahali zina meet. So midpoint tunapeana x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2 inatupea midpoint. Tunajua AB, the first x ni 2 plus the second x which is 7 or 3, not 2. The 3 divided by 2, the y6 plus 12 over 2. So the midpoint is 10 divided by 2 itakuwa 5, 18 divided by 2 itakuwa 9. So the midpoint is 5, 9. Hiyo ndio kitu ya kwanza lazima utafute. Sasa the next thing ni kutafuta the gradient of this line C to the midpoint. Lakini tunajua the gradient of AB. Gradient of AB equal to 3/2. So the gradient of the perpendicular line, the relationship is m1 times m2, the answer is -1. So the gradient of the perpendicular line is going to be -2/3. The reciprocal of that, but negative. I hope unajua kutafuta hiyo gradient ingine because of time. Now, once tumepata gradient of this line, now tunaweza tumia the general point xy na hii point tupate the equation of the line, because tulikuwa tunataka to find the equation. So we have the point 5, 9, we have xy, and then we have the gradient -2, 3. So change in y minus 9, x minus 5, the answer is -2/3. We cross multiply. 3y minus 27 is equal to -2x plus 10. 3y equal to -2x, tukua ipande ingine ikue 10 plus 27. 3y itakuwa -2x plus 37. Divided by both sides by 3. So y is equal to -2/3x plus 37/3. And that is the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB. Given that AC is perpendicular to AB, is perpendicular to AB, so it means this one is perpendicular to AC, and the equation of BC is y is equal to -5x plus 47. Find the coordinate of C. Now we want to find the coordinate here of C. Kwa hivyo kama AB na AC are perpendicular, the relationship of the gradient, tunajua gradient ya AB. So gradient ya AC is 2/3 negative. Kama hii ni 3 over 2, hii itakuwa hivi. Perpendicular lines, the gradient of perpendicular lines, when you multiply them, the answer should be -1. Kama ni hivyo sasa, tuko na point moja, tunaweza pata equation of AC. Equation of AC tutafanya x, y, 3, 6, and then the gradient is -3, 2. Y minus 6 over x minus 3, the answer is -2 over 3. 3y minus 18 equal to -2x plus 6. Like times together, this one is 3y equal to -2x plus 24. This one itakuja hapa itakuwa 24. So y equal to -2 over 3x plus 8. So this is the equation of line AC. The equation of line AC. Lakini AC sinakutana na BC at the point C. Inamaanisha at this point the value of y is going to be the same. Kwa hivyo tuna equate the equation of y ya hii line na equation of y of this line. So inamaanisha -5x plus 47 would be equal to -2 over 3x plus 8. This one is going to give us the value of y, of x. Like terms together, hii ni negative ikikuja pande itakuwa -5x plus 2 over 3x is equal to 8 minus 47. Hapa tunaenda kuwa na negative. Yeah, this one is going to give us -4. 1 over 3 is equal to -39. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuweka equal property. This is 3 times 4, that is 12, plus 1. Negative unaiacha kando. It is 3 times 4, 12. 12 plus 1 is 13 over 3. Now negative x equal to -39. So we can multiply both sides by 3 over -13 times 3 over -13. This one goes, so x itakuwa hii na hii itakuwa 3. So x is going to be 9. The value of x is 9. So now tuna substitute 9 either in this equation or this one, and we find the value of x. So let us use this. Y would be equal to -5 times 9 plus 47. This one is -45 plus 47. So y equal to 2. Meaning the coordinate xy, x is 9, y is 2. So C is 9, 2. And you are done. You get your 10 marks. Thank you very much. The figure below shows a triangle inside a circle. AB 8 cm, BC 10 cm, and AC 13 cm. Calculate the area of the triangle ABC. So tumepewa hii triangle, hatuna height. Tunajua tungekuwa na height tungefanya tu a half base times h. Lakini sasa tukipewa hii triangle ambayo ni scale in, what we do, we use Hero's formula. And the Hero's formula says that area is equal to the square root s into s minus a, s minus b, s minus c. Right? So that's what it says. So tunataka kujua s ni nini. So s equal to, you find the perimeter of, in fact the perimeter of the triangle. That is 8 plus 13 plus 10, and then divide by 2. That one gives you s, and that one is going to be 31. Divide by 2, and that is 15.5. So our s is 15.5. Now let us substitute our area equal to the square root of 15.5 into 15.5 minus, you can give, this is our a, B, C. I hope you know how to locate those things. So minus A, our A is 10, and then 15.5 minus B, which is 13, and then 15.5 minus our C, which is 8. So you will realize that this one will give you 1598.43. Ikiwa hivi ni multiplication, so this times this times this in multiplication. 75. So our area is going to be 39.98 centimeters square. So the area is as simple as that. So ukiwa na triangle yenye side zote asifanani, you use Hero's formula. Suppose tukikuwa hii triangle ilikuwa hivi, tuko na 4, tuko na 6, na hapa tumepewa 50 degrees. So tukiwa na two sides and an angle included, it is simple. You just use a half times side sin theta, sin the angle. So ukiwa na triangle nataka area na umepewa sides mbili na kuna angle between them, you just use this. So here itakuwa a half times 4 times 6 times sin 50, and you get the answer. Find angle BAC. Angle BAC. Angle BAC. So we are looking for angle A. So we are going to use the cosine rule. We are going to use the cosine rule. So we are going to use the cosine rule to get the angle of this. I hope you know how the cosine rule states. So because we need A, we are going to start by saying that A square is equal to B square plus C square minus 2BC cos A. Now you substitute A. Our A is 10. You can see that our A is 10. So you say 10 square is 100, 20 direct, is equal to B. Our B is 13. 13 square is 169 plus C square, which is 64, minus 2BC. So 2BC, which is going to be 2 times 8 times 13 cos A. So 100 is equal to 169 plus 64. Itaenda kutupea 233 minus this times this times this, itatupea 208. 28 cos A. So let us like terms together. Hii tutaipeleka pande ingine. Itakuwa 100 minus 233 is equal to minus 208 cos A. Now we subtract here, we are going to have minus 133 is equal to minus 208 cos A. Tunataka kutoa hii namba hapa, so you divide by both by negative 208, divide by negative 208. So this one goes. Now we will have negative and negative will go, so we will have 0.6394 is equal to cos A. Cos A. Remember, negative divided by negative is positive, you should know. So to get A, you find A, angle A is equal to be cos inverse 0.6394. So A itakupea 50.25 degrees. So tumepata angle A like that. The radius of the circle. So we want to get the radius of this circle. To get the radius now, tumepata angle A ni 50.25. Tuko nayo hiyo. So what we are going to use, we are going now to use the sine rule. The sine rule. We know that A, according to the sine rule, divided by sine A will be equal to 2r, to radius, sine A over that. But we have A, our A is 10. Sine A, that is sine 50.25. We add our A here. And everything here is going to be 2r, right? So we find this one is going to be 10, you just use your calculator, 10 divided by sine 50, the answer is going to be 13.0065, which is equal to 2r. We want radius, not the 2 radius. Therefore, we divide by 2, So the radius of the circle is going to be 6.503 centimeters. That is the radius. Next, we want to calculate the area of the shaded region. Area of the shaded region is obtained by, we calculate the area of the whole circle and then subtract the area of the triangle. The area of the triangle tuko nayo hapa. So what we need now to do is to calculate the area of the circle because already tumepata radius. So which is 22 over 7 times our radius 6.503 square. And this one, it gives us 132.92 centimeters square. So this is the area of the circle. So shaded area equal to area of the triangle, area of the circle, area of circle minus area of the triangle. And that one is 132.92 minus 39.98. So it will be 92.94 centimeters square. That is the area of the shaded region. A straight line, L1, has a gradient negative a half, and it passes through the point this. Another line, L2, passes through the point this and this. Find the equation of L1 in the form of y is equal to mx plus c, where m and c are constants. So we have been given the gradient of L1. We have the point, that's very simple. So gradient equal to change in y over change in x. So we take the general point, which is x and y. So the points we have is x, y, this point minus 1,3, and our gradient is negative a half. So we change in y, we say y minus 3 divided by x minus 1. The answer is going to be negative a half. And negative times a negative is going to be positive. Positive. So we cross multiply this and that. We are going to have 2y minus 6 is equal to, this times is going to be negative x. This times is going to be negative 1. Right? So right, 2y is equal to, ikienda pa itakuwa negative x. Negative 6 ikifika hapa itakuwa plus 6. So tutakuwa na plus 5. Then we were told y is equal to mx. So we want y to remain on the left side. So you divide by 2 every term. So our final equation will be y is equal to minus 1 over 2x plus 5 over 2. That is the final equation of line 1. Hence, find the y-intercept of this. So whenever you write y equal to mx plus c, c is the y-intercept, m is the gradient. So for us to get the y-intercept in this equation, we just look at this is the gradient, this is c. So y-intercept is equal to 5 over 2. Gradient of L2. So gradient 2 what line 2 watold inapitia kwa 1 3 negative 3 4 5. So kitu ya kwanza tunatafuta kuna point mbili, we must get the gradient and then find the equation. So gradient equal to change in y over change in x. So we are changing 5 minus 3. So 5 minus 3 divided by x, which is 4 minus 1. Minus minus itakuwa 8 over 3. So the gradient is 8 over 3 of L2. The equation of L2 in the form of this. So we want to find the gradient, the equation. So we take the general equation, the general point that is xy. The gradient tuko nayo ni 8 over 3. And then we take one of the point, either this or this, it depends umechukua gani. So let us take this one, the second. So we are going to say y minus 5 divided by x minus 4 equal to 8 over 3, which is the gradient. So we solve that, we cross multiply. We are going to have 3y minus 15 is equal to my 8x, itakuwa 8x minus 32 minus 32. So let us like terms together. Kwa sababu tumepewa ax, so tuna make sure x itaanza, y ifuate, halafu c ndio tuweke mwisho c 0. You must adhere to the instructions given. If you write your own way, you get 0 at the final answer. So let us kwanza hii ikikuja pande hii itakuwa, so utakuwa na 3y, hii kuja hapa itakuwa plus 32, so tutakuwa na plus 17 equal to 8x. So nataka tulete hii pande hii, so tutakuwa na negative 8x, ikikuja hapa itakuwa negative plus 3y plus 17 equal to 0. So we have written this equation the form we were told. X inaanza, y inafuata, c inafuata, halafu 0 inamalizia. So ukiona uwezi wacha hii ikiwa negative, this is as good as you introduce a negative in this equation. We will have negative 8 times negative 1, we are going to have 8x. Negative times positive, hii itakuwa minus 3y minus 17 is equal to 0. Hata hii na hii bado iko sawa. Bado iko sawa. The equation of a line passing through a point this and is perpendicular to, there is another line that is perpendicular to line 2 and it passes through this point. So if it is perpendicular to line 2, we know the relationship between perpendicular line. So let us get the gradient of that line. Let me then call it line 3. So L3 gradient yake tutaita M3. So M3 times M2, the answer should be negative 1. But that is M3 times 8 over 3, which is this L2, the answer should be negative 1. So you realize that the gradient M3 itakuwa negative 3 over 8, the reciprocal of that. So tushapata gradient ya M3. Now it is passing through, so we are going to say y minus 5 over x minus 0. The answer is negative 3 over 8. Cross multiply, we are going to have 8y minus 40 is equal to minus 3x. So tumeambiwa in form, tumeambiwa in form, so this one can be 8y is equal to minus 3x plus 40. Nimechukua hiyo on this side. Nimechukua hiyo on this side. And then now, what else? We can do what? You can leave this here because hatukupewa instruction, or you divide by 8 everywhere. So we are going to have y is equal to minus 3 over 8x plus 5. This one is also okay and this one is okay. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu hatukuambiwa instructions kama hii ama hii. Calculate the acute angle that L2 makes with the x-axis, the arctangle. Anytime you are asked to calculate the arctangle of a line, get the gradient of that line. Ukiambiwa calculate the arctangle of a line, get the gradient of that line. So once you get the gradient of that line, you should know that tan theta is equal to that gradient of that line, is equal to the gradient. Sawa sawa, hiyo ndio formula. Tan theta is equal to the gradient of that line, whichever line you are given. So get the gradient of line 2. The gradient of line 2 is 8 over 3. Is 8 over 3. So we are saying tan theta is equal to 8 over 3. So to get theta, we are going to find the tan inverse of 8 over 3. Tan inverse of 8 over 3. And then you realize that your answer, theta is equal to 69.44 degrees. Find the gradient. Find the gradient. Find the gradient. Find the gradient of tangent. Find the gradient of the tangent to the curve. Find the gradient to the curve y is equal to x cubed plus 2x plus 1 at 0.1, 4. Very good. So the point at the curve is 1, 4, where the tangent was drawn. Mahali walichora hiyo curve. So assuming hii, let me just explain something here. So assuming this is a Cartesian plane, this is x and this is y. So mahali walichora hii y hapa, hii point hapa ndio tutakuwa na 1, 4, that point. So where the tangent is drawn here is where we are for. So the normal itachorwa na ipitie pale. So the normal and the tangent passes through the same point. So they share that point. Understand that place. The normal and the tangent, at that point they have the same point. That's 1, 4, because they meet there. That's where they intersect. Nice. Maybe. So solution. Solution. Rule number 1, because we are looking for the gradient of the curve. Remember, the gradient of the tangent is equal to the gradient of the curve. So we started by getting the gradient of the curve. And how do you get the gradient of the curve? Is to differentiate and then substitute with the value of x. So gradient is given by dy over dx. Then we are differentiating, which is going to be 3x squared plus 2. And that is the gradient function. But at 0.14, the value of x is 1 and y is 4. So we don't bother with y, we substitute to get, so gradient is equal to 3 into 1 square plus 2. I am substituting the value of x in our gradient function. So it means that the gradient is going to be 3 plus is going to be 5. That is our gradient. So the gradient of this line is going to be 5. Sawa sawa. Next, Now we have the gradient of the curve. So remember, the gradient of the curve is the same as the gradient of the tangent. Therefore, the gradient of the tangent is equal to 5. The gradient of the tangent is equal to 5 because the gradient of the curve is equal to the gradient of the tangent. Now, what will be the gradient of the normal? Because the normal, now we know the gradient, so the tangent we know is 5. Then it means the gradient of the normal is equal to negative 1 over 5. So that when we multiply negative 1 over 5 times 5, the answer is negative 1. Because perpendicular lines, M1 times M2, the answer should be negative 1. For perpendicular lines, because the normal and the tangent, they are perpendicular. When we multiply the negative, the gradient of the tangent and the gradient of the normal, the answer should be negative 1. So that is negative 5 times negative 1 over 5, 5 times negative 1 over 5, the answer is negative 1. Find the equation of the normal to the curve y is equal to x cubed minus 2x minus 1 at the point 2 minus 2. So that is the point. Now remember, this one is a 3 marks question. Rule number 1, you need to get the gradient of the tangent. And you should remember that the tangent and the normal, they are perpendicular. Now that is the knowledge. Now see the way we are going to do it. So first, let us get the gradient function. So dy over dx is equal to, let us differentiate this one, tutapata ni 3x square minus 2. And that is the gradient function. But at 2, negative 2, at this point, this is the x and this is the y. So we substitute the value of x inside here in the gradient function and get the gradient. So the gradient of the curve, will be equal to 3, 2 raised to power 2 minus 2. This one is 3 times 4, which is 12, minus 2. 2 raised to power 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. And this one is going to give us 10. So the gradient of the curve is 10. But that gradient is the same as the gradient of the tangent. So the gradient of the tangent at 2, negative 2 is equal to 10. Remember, we know Podolsky does to calculate the gradient of the tangent, but we need it. It is the thing we need for us to go to the normal. So since now we know that the normal and the tangent, they are perpendicular, we know that if this is the tangent, then the normal is this way. This will be the normal. So if we know the gradient of this line is 10, then the gradient of this one should be negative 1 over 10. Now, that is the relationship we are talking about. So the gradient of the normal is 1 over 10. Now next we say the gradient of the normal is 1 over 10. Now we have the gradient, we have the point where they're meeting, they meet or they intersect at 2, negative 2. How do you get the equation of a straight line? Because a normal is a straight line, as you can see. So we have the point and we check the general point x and y. Now this is the knowledge I have taught in the first video, form 2 work, and this is very important. We know that the gradient is equal change in y over change in x. We have 2 points, we have xy and 2, negative 2. So y minus 2 over x minus 2, the answer should be negative 1 over 10, which is the gradient of the normal. Now from here, we cross multiply. So let us cross multiply. But remember that a negative times a negative here becomes positive. So we will have 10 into y plus 2, which is equal to negative 1 into the x minus 2. So this is 10y plus 20, which is equal to negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 2, the answer is positive 2. You will not calculate negative 1 times negative 2, the answer will be positive 2. So from there, you like terms together, we will have 10y is equal to negative x. Bring this 20 from the left side, ivuke equal signs ikuje to the right side. So this one, ikikuja hapa, inakuwa positive, inakuwa negative because hapa iko positive. So that one plus 2 minus 20. So 10y is equal to negative x. 2 minus 20, the answer should be minus 18. So this equation is okay. So because you have not been given any instructions. Kama hujaambiwa, the equation should be in the form of y is equal to mx plus c, then you can leave this equation here. But if you are asked to write the equation in the form of y is equal to mx plus c, the general formula of a straight line, then you divide by 10 every term. Divide by 10 here, divide by 10 here, divide by 10 here. So we will have y is equal to 1 over 10x minus 10 over 18. And that is all you need to know. I think that one I have emphasized enough. Now let us move ahead and do another example that you might challenge you. There is one example I'm going to do here that might be a challenge, but I want to remove that fear here right away. And this is the question I want to do. Find the equation of the tangent find the equation of the tangent to the curve y is equal to x cubed minus 2x square minus 1 when y is equal to negative 1. So you can see this one is very different from what we have been doing. So how are you supposed to handle this? Here you can see we have been given y. We don't have x. So then the first thing you need to get is the value of x. How are you going to get the value of x? Solution. So let's find the value of x. So, but y is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 1. But y is equal to negative 1. So we substitute here, we say negative 1 is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 1. Like terms together. So this one comes here and 0 remains here. So 0 is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 1 plus 1. Yes. So negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So we are going to have that x cubed minus 2x squared equal to 0. Now we want the value of x. Ukiangalia x cube na x square, the common factor is x square kwa sababu x square iko ndani ya x cube. So the common factor is x square into, kwa x square imebaki x moja minus 2. X square ndio hii, so inamaliza is equal to 0. So inamaanisha hapa x square is equal to 0 or x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 2. So hii ukienda pande hii ikikuja huku inakuwa positive. So tumepata the value of x. Umeona? Tumepata the value of x. So we continue. There's no need of underlining. So remember the question was asking us to do what? To find the equation of the tangent. So it means now what we have the point. We have the point which could be 0, negative 1 or 2, negative 1, because the values of x is x tumepata ni mbili, 0 or this one. Tumeelewana? And now what we need is the gradient. We need the gradient to get the equation. Now the gradient function is given by dy over dx. Now we will go back to our y. Our equation is y. Let us get the gradient function here, which is equal to, differentiate this one, itakuwa 3x squared, right, minus 2, that is 4x, like that. So when x is equal to 0, you see that the gradient is going to be 0. Umeona? And then when x is going to be 2, the gradient inaenda equal to, substitute hapa itakuwa 3, 2 square minus 4 times 2. So gradient itakuwa 12 minus 8, itakuwa 4. The gradient will be 4. Now here we will have two equations. When x, the gradient is 0, and when the gradient is 4. So let me do one because you need to do 2 times. So the equation of we have the gradient 4 or 0. We can use them. Now we have the point 2, negative 1 and point 0, 1. Use any of them. So we can start with, I will ignore the one for the 0 and do, but in an exam you need to do both. So let me show you how to get the gradient. Lakini tushafanya, so, but I will just do it. Now we have the point, we have the gradient. So we will say the gradient is equal to change in y over change in x. When x is equal to 2, so we are going to say y is equal to, y minus the point minus 1 over x minus 2. We are going to have the gradient which is 4, right? And so now utapata gradient, and then we say when x is equal to 0, hapo utapata the equation. Tumemaliza. And for we say when x is equal to 0, utasema y minus 1 divided by x minus 0, and the answer is 0. And this one, the gradient, actually the equation is going to be, everything is 0, is going to be y plus 1 equal to 0. Hiyo ndio equation ya when x, the gradient is 0. As simple as that. I hope umeelewa kenye nimefanya. I hope you have understood what I have done here. And then one more last example here. One last example is when last example in this subtopic is find the point on the curve. Find the point on the curve y is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 7, at which the gradient is 5 and the equation of the tangent and the normal at this point. So we have to find the equation and the equation of the tangent and the normal at this point. So hapa tuko na kibara. We have work to do here. We need to get the point. After getting the point, because we have the gradient, now we are going to use the point to find the equation of the tangent and the equation of the normal. The equation of the point should be very simple and fine now. So let me take you through that very fast. Solution. So we have let us get the gradient function. dy over dx is equal to 2x minus 3. Was it 3 square or I made a mistake? Yeah, it is okay. It is 3x plus 7. So our gradient function is this, but this function is equal to 5 because we have the gradient. So we want the value of x. So here we are going to say 2x is equal to 5 plus 3, right? So we are going to say that 2x is equal to 8, and the value of x we divide by 2 is going to be 4. Now the next thing, a point, it has to have the x coordinate and the y coordinate. Now we go back to our equation y x squared, so we substitute. So y is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 7. So our x is equal to 4. We substitute. So y will be equal to 4 squared minus 3 times 4 plus 7. So this is 16 minus 12 plus 7. So 16 minus this is, okay, we can press the calculator. This is 4. So y is equal to 11. Y is going to be 11. So the point will be 4 the x and 11 the y. Tumepata the point. Now we have the point and we have the gradient. So what is difficult to get the tangent? We are going to do that. Nothing is going to be now difficult for us to get the tangent and the normal equations. So for the tangent, we have equation of the tangent, we have the point 4, 11. We have the gradient of the curve, which is 5, and it is the same as the gradient of the tangent. We have the general point, x, y. So we are going to say gradient is equal to change in y over change in x. So that is y minus 11 divided by x minus 4, which is equal to 5. So we close multiply, we are going to have y minus 11 is equal to 5x minus 20. So finally, y is equal to 5x. You take this on the other side, itakuwa minus 20 plus 11. That one is going to be minus 9. And that is the equation of the tangent. Now the normal, if the gradient of the tangent is 5, then the gradient of the normal is equal to negative 1 over 5, such that 5 times negative 1 over 5, the answer is negative 1, perpendicular, because the normal and the tangent are perpendicular. Now we have the gradient of the normal, we have the point 411 and the xy. Sasa hiyo itakushinda kupata the equation, uta-repeat what we have done here. So you are going to say gradient equal to change in y over change in x. So utasema y minus 11 over x minus 4, because they are sharing this point. They meet, they intersect at the point 411 is equal to minus 1 over 5. Please cross multiply and get the equation. Thank you, very important. Thank you very much. This is our curve, and we have another curve like this. So this curve has this point here. This is the turning point here. The turning point, yani mahali inageukia, the turning point. This is what we call the turning point. For this one, the turning point is here. So this one is the turning point or a stationary point, and this one is the turning point. These are what we call the turning point of a curve. So at the turning point, the key word here is that at the turning point, at the stationary or at the turning point, the gradient function of that curve, of the curve, is equal to 0. That is the key word. At the stationary point, at the turning point, the gradient function is equal to 0. Mark that and know that. And even better, identify the stationary point. Identify the stationary point. Identify the stationary points. Identify the stationary point on the curve. On the curve y is equal to x cubed minus 3x plus 2. For each determine the maximum, determine whether it is maximum or minimum. For each determine for each determine whether whether it is the maximum, minimum, or point of inflection, or a point of inflection. So this question contains 10 marks. This question contains 10 marks. That's paper 1. We expect a question of this nature, paper 1, section 2, section B, or section 2. So let's see where we start. We need to understand it by getting the gradient function, because we know at the stationary point, dy over dx is equal to 0. That is the key word. So at the stationary point, dy over dx is equal to 0. So let us get dy over dx. So our dy over dx is equal to, we integrate this, we differentiate this one, we're going to get dy over dx is equal to 3x squared minus 3. But we have said at the stationary point, dy, that is 3x squared minus 3, the answer should be 0, right? Because that is the keyword. At the stationary point, dy over dx is 0. So you can simplify this and get the value of x. We want the value of x. As you can see, this is a polynomial. We are going to get two values of x. So we can, 3 is common, so 3 into x square minus 1 is equal to 0. X minus 1, because it's a difference of two squares, x plus 1. So you can see here, x is equal to 1, or x is equal to negative 1. But that, okay, the value of x itself is x is equal to 1 or x is equal to, this one is just say, e is 3, 3 is equal over 0 is 0, so that's nothing there. Then, now our value of x is equal to 1 or x is equal to negative 1. So we need to find now the point, the stationary point. To get the stationary point, we have the values of x. How do you get a point? You take the values of x and substitute on the function. Our function is y is equal to x cubed minus 3x plus 2. So when x is equal to 1, what will be y? Substitute here. We are going to have 1 minus 3 plus 2. And that one is minus 2, so y is going to be 0 there. When x is 1, y is going to be 0. So the stationary point there will be 1, 0. That is the first stationary point. We will have two stationary points because we have two values of x. Next is when x is equal to negative 1. When x is equal to negative 1, we substitute there again. So that one will be negative 1 cube minus 3 minus 1 plus 2. So this one is going to give us y is equal to 4. So we will have x. The another point we are going to have is 1, negative 1, 4. So now we have two stationary points. The next, now the last thing is to want to determine between point 1, 1 is 0, and negative 4, 1, negative 1, 4. Which one is the maximum, which one is the minimum, or which one is the point of inflection? That is the next thing we are doing. Remember, I told you this is a 10 marks question. So we go to part B, because this question will be divided to part A, B, like that, but now we are doing it generally. So to determine which stationary point is maximum or minimum or point of inflection, we are going to draw a table like you can see here. Let me open here. At the point -1, 4, we want to check whether this one is maximum or minimum. So you draw a table. You draw a table. With the 3, and then it is a simple table where we have the value of x. The next one is dy over dx. And the next one is the diagrammatic representative, that is the nature of the shape. Then make sure you have 3 columns like this, right? So the 3 columns we have at the middle. So we have the value of x here. Our value of x, our x here, we are considering this x is equal to -1. So we put that value at the center of these 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. So tunachukua our -1 here, the value of x. So umeona hapa ni x, hapa ni x. So the x here, our x tunaiweka katikati, tumetengeneza to the left and to the right. Kuna kitu tulikuwa tunafanya hapa left and the right. Katikati ni we had this the gradient. You are going to see that the gradient, the dy over dx is always going to be 0. Yeah, sawa. Now here, find any number to the left of -1 and another number to the right of -1. So a number to the left of -1 is -2. A number to the right of 0 is to the right of -1 is 0. So you should know the number line. Here unafaa kujua the number line. Now, the next thing is you substitute these values in dy over dx. Our dy over dx ilikuwa, nini? Ilikuwa 3x square minus 3. Kwa hivyo tunaanza na -2. Substitute. Mahali unaona x unaweka -2. So tunasema 2 -2 square minus 3. This is 2, that is 2, 4 times 2, 8, 8 minus, so this one is going to be 5. This is 3, sorry. This is 3. So, negative, that is 12, 12 minus 3, that's 9. We are going to have 9. So here is 9. If you substitute with -1 here, the answer is going to be 0. Here the answer will always be 0. And then we put it there. If we put this 0 here, the answer is going to be -3. So you substitute for 0, you unasema 3x, which is 0, minus 3. That is the answer. So now the nature. How are you going to do the nature? Hii ni positive. So ikiwa positive unaenda juu. So positive inaenda hivi. 0. Hii kwa sababu imepanda, itakuwa hapo juu. Halafu hii inateremka. Unaona? Now this the nature, the diagrammatic representation for this one will be this, this, this. Meaning that point -1, 4 is the maximum. Now we repeat the same using now the point -1, 0. We do the same using that point, the point, that one. Now we're at the point, when the point is 1, comma 0, we had this point, the value of x here is 1. So hapa kwa hii column 1, 2, 3, at the center weka the value of x, tutaweka 1. Then find one number to the left of 1, that is 0. One number to the right of 1, that will be 2. Right? Now substitute these values of x, these are the values of x, on the gradient and get. So if you substitute here 0, the answer is going to be negative 3. At the middle, the answer will always be this 0. dy over dx, if you put here 1, itakuwa 3 minus 3, the answer is 0. Next, when x is 2, itakuwa 3 into 2 square minus 3. Itakuwa 12 minus 3, and the answer is 9. This is 9. So the nature will be, so ukiangalia hii ni negative, so negative inateremka 0, alafu positive inapanda. So this one is this, this, this. Then it means that, then it implies that point 1, 0 is the minimum. And that is how you score your 10 marks up to that point. Up to that point, you may score marks yako 10, and you become happy when you get that one in an exam. So that's how simple it is. It is very simple. It needs practice. You do a lot of practice on it, and then it becomes part of you. You know, when you write, that's the reason why we ask you to do a lot of practice, because there's a connection between your fingers and your brain. There's a connection. When you practice a lot, everything becomes easy to an extent. So maybe I will do another example. Another thing in this topic, in this subtopic of stationary points, you need to understand very well how to solve quadratic. You can use the formula or the factor method. You need to know that the knowledge in Form 2 of using the factor method to get the values, or you use the Form 3 quadratic formula to get the value of x, because you will need to have the two values of x, right? So let me do another example. Identify the stationary points. Determine the stationary points on the curve y is equal to 1 plus 4x cubed minus 4 minus x4 minus x raised to power 4 x raised to power 4. Determine the nature of each stationary point. Determine the nature of each stationary point. So this sum carries 10 marks. First thing, you differentiate, you get the gradient function. You equate the gradient function with 0. That helps you to get the values of x. They can be 2. Once you get the two values of x, so it depends, they can be 1 or 2. So it depends how the question has been set. But mostly you will get two values of x, where one could be the maximum, another one the minimum, or one could be the maximum or minimum, another one a point of inflection. So that is the nature. So the nature, you are going to say this point is maximum, this point is point of inflection. This point is the minimum. That is what we call the nature. So the nature, you are going to determine whether it is maximum, minimum, or the other way. So let us look at this one very fast. Let me use this solution. So first let us find dy over dx. Dy over dx will be, this one will be 0. So 3 times 4 will be 12 x square minus 4x cubed. That is our gradient function. So we can see x square is common. So we can say x square into 12 minus, in fact, 4. 4x square is common. So 4x square is common. So hapa itakuwa 3, itabaki 3 minus x is equal to 0. That's very nice. So it means x is to be 0. So because this has got a value of x, 4x squared divided by this one is going to be 0. So x, 4x squared is equal to 0, or 3 minus x is equal to 0. Fine. And then it means here x is equal to 0, and here x equal 3 minus x. X is going equal to x is going to be 3. X is going to be 3. So these are the two values of x. Once we have the values of x, the next thing we need is the values of y, because we need points. A point should have x and y. So you bring the equation down here and say y is equal to 1 plus 4x cubed minus x raised to the power 4. So you say when x is 0, so y will be 1. So when x is equal to 0, here you substitute, this one will be 0 minus 0. So y itakuwa 1. So the point itakuwa 0, 1. That is the point. Next, when x is 3, when x is equal to 3, so y itakuwa nini? Itakuwa 1 plus 3 into 3 cubed minus 3 raised to power 4. Right? And this one will give us this is 27 times 381. That is one. This one is going to be 28. So the point now, the point will be x, which is 3, 28. Now, the last thing we want to determine whether this point, we want to determine that this point, let me call it B, and this one, let me call it A. We want to determine whether A is maximum or minimum. We want to determine B, whether it is maximum or minimum, or inflection, in the point of inflection. That is the last thing you need to do. Well, how do you do that? You draw a table of this nature. Maybe I can draw it again, but there's no need. I can delete this. So you can delete everything up there. So you draw, when you are checking the nature, you draw 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns actually. The first one you will have the value of x, the first one will have x, and then the second here will have dy over dx, then last one is nature. And this one you should have 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. Ile ya katikati ndio tunaweka the value of x. So tunaanza na when x is 0, we add 0, with a point 0, 1. So here the value of x is 0. So ile tunaweka katikati hapa ni 0 hapa. Sasa tafuta one number to the left of 0, one number to the right of 0. Number to the right of 0 is 1. To the left is -1. Now write down our functional gradient. The gradient was, the functional gradient was 12 x square minus 4 x cube minus 4x cube. So if you substitute 0 here, everything is going to be 0. And even here, everything is going to be 0 there. Now let's put 1. If we substitute with 1 here, we will have 12 minus 4. And here is going to be 8. Right? To the left, we substitute here with negative. So -1 square is 1 minus. So in fact, it's going to be 12 plus 4. And this one will be 16. So the nature now, 16 is positive, so inaenda juu. O ni 0, so inakuwa, kwa sababu imeenda juu, so hii 0 itakuwa hapo juu. 8 bado ni positive, so itaenda juu. Umeona sasa? So this one is this, and that is a point. So you say O01 is a point of inflection. So we are remaining with the 2 marks to check for the other one. So the 2 marks is to check the other point. The other point was 3,28. That is the one we check tuone kama ni maximum ama ni minimum na tupate marks yetu 10. So let me delete this one here. In this idea, you clear everything because they are not going to be the same. Everything is unique here. So our value of x in this one, when the point is 328, our x is 3. So hii ya katikati sasa ndio utaweka 3, the value of x. After doing that, tafuta namba moja yenye iko left ya 3 and another number which is right of 3. 3 tunakitoka 3 tunaenda 4. So hapa weka 4. Before tufike 3 tunatoka 2. So that is the number to the left of. So once you have done that, if you substitute 3 here, this is going to be 9 times this, and the answer is going to be 0 here. That one, be sure. That is going to be dy over dx kwa x itakuwa 0. Now next, we substitute with 2. So unasema hapa 12 into 2 square minus 4, 2 cube. So 2 square ni 4. 4 times this itakuwa 48 minus. This is 8. 8 times this itakuwa 32. So 48 minus 32. Sini 16, one is going to give us 16. So ni calculator hii itakuwa 16. So hapa itakuwa 16. Now to the right we have 4. So we substitute here. So itakuwa 12. When it is 4, tunaenda kuweka 4 hapa. 4 square minus 4 times 4 raised to power 3. So this one is going to give us, you press your calculator, it will give us -64. So this is -64. Now let us draw the nature. So this is positive 16 inaenda juu. This is 0 kwa sababu imepanda, hiyo itakuwa hapa juu. Hii ni inaenda chini, so itatoka hapo ikuje chini. So the nature is going to be this. Then this point, it means that 328 is the maximum point. And that is how you will get your 10 marks. Thank you very much. Equation of the curve is given by y is equal 1/3 x cubed, like that. Determine the value of y when x is 3. Sasa hapa kitu nafanya ni kusubstitute. Mahali kwa hii equation unaona x unaweka 3. So you substitute 3 everywhere in this equation where you see there is a value of x, you put 3 instead of the x. So y is equal to 1/3. Instead of x, we put 3 raised to power 3 minus 4 into 3 plus 5. This is the same as 1/3 times 27 minus 12 plus 5. And plus your cut, this is 9 minus 12 plus 5. And the answer y is equal to 2. So when x is 3, the value of y is 2. The gradient of the curve at x is equal to 3. So kutafuta the gradient of the curve, una differentiate mara moja. So we have our y as is equal to 1/3 x cubed minus 4x plus 5. So gradient of a function, this is a function. The gradient ni kudifferentiate once, nasema dy over dx is equal to, you differentiate. How do you differentiate? Ex equals to power 3. The power of x inarudi pande hii, so tunasema 3 times hii yenye ilikuwa hapa ni 1/3. And then x ilikuwa 3, unapunguza x by 1, so itakuwa x minus 1, itabaki x2, so itabaki square minus x hii equals to power 1. So 1 ikuja pande itakuwa 1 times 4 times -4, itakuwa -4, so -4. X raised to power 1 minus 1 itabaki 0, so x raised to power 0 is 1, so itakuwa imeisha. So our gradient function dy over dx is equal to, now this one and this one goes, x square minus 4. And now we have differentiated. Ndio inaitwa the gradient function. So ukiambiwa tafuta the gradient when you are given an equation, you're going to differentiate once. Now tunataka kupata the gradient when x is equal 3. Inamaanisha mahali x iko kwa hii gradient, weka 3. So x square minus 4, meaning this is 3 raised to power 3 minus 4. And this is 9 minus 4. And the answer is 5. So the gradient is 5 when x is equal to 3. Turning point. The turning points of the curve and their nature. So we will determine the turning points and the curve of the nature. So the other name you will find that it means the same with the turning point ni stationary points. So ukisikia mahali unaulizwa tafuta find the stationary points, ni kama kukuambia find the turning points. The turning point of a curve or the stationary point of a curve occurs when the gradient function is 0. Umesikia venye nimesema? The turning point of a curve, the stationary point of a curve occurs when the gradient function dy over dx is equal to 0. So dy over dx is equal to 0, that's where we get the turning points. Naelewana? Sasa tushapata dy over dx ni kudifferentiate this our function y, na tushapata the gradient is x square minus 4. So dy over dx is equal to x square minus 4. So now we equate it to 0. So x square minus 4, the answer is 0. So x square is equal to tupeleke hii 4 pande hii, so utakuwa na 4. Tunataka the value of x. We find the square root both sides. So tukitafuta hapa x inaenda kuwa either positive or negative 2. X is positive or negative 2. Unajua ni kwa nini tunasema x is negative or positive 2? Kwa sababu negative 2 squares ni 4. Positive 2 squares ni 4. Kwa hivyo majibu ni mawili. Now the value is this. So in now tupate the turning point ama the stationary point. So our value of x is equal to negative 2 or 2. So now we substitute to get the turning points. Tuna substitute hii value ya x kwa our original equation. Hapa, hii equation yetu. Tukisubstitute hapa x, tunapata the value of y. So the turning point will be that coordinate we are going to obtain. So tunafanya hivi. Y is equal 1 over 3. X is to power 3 minus 4 x plus what? Plus 5. Substitute now when x is equal negative 2. What will be the value of y? Y will be 1 over 3 negative 2 raised to power 3 minus 4 times negative 2 plus 5. You substitute. So y here will be equal to, when x is equal to negative 2, the value of y is going to be 10 to 1 over 3. 10 1 over 3. So now the turning point will be, we write it in the value of y, x, xy. So the turning point, the first turning point will be ilikuwa negative 2, 10 1 over 3. So this is the turning point when x is equal to what? To negative 2. And then you write that when x is equal to positive 2, what will be the turning point? So y is equal to a third x cubed minus 4x plus 5. Now substitute where you see the value of x, you put it to 1 over 3 x raised to power 3, 2 raised to power 3 minus 4 times 2 plus 5. So y here, we are going to obtain y as negative a third. Y is negative a third. Therefore, the turning point when x is equal to 2 will be xy. And our x is 2, y is negative a third. So these are called the turning points. And now finally, we are going to check for the nature of the nature of the curve. So we will start when, now we are checking the nature of the curve when x is equal to negative 2. Ukitaka kucheck the nature, kitu nafanya, remember this is x is equal to negative 2, that's from our gradient function. So naweka x, our x here is negative 2. Tafuta number moja, one number to the left of negative 2 and another number to the right of negative 2. A number to the left of negative 2 here is negative 1, negative 3. A number to the right of negative 2 is negative 1. And here is dy over dx. So unachukua hii value ya x, una substitute kwa the gradient function dy over dx. Kwa hivyo nikisubstitute na negative 2, the answer is going to be 0. kwaje? Negative 2 squares ni 4. 4 minus 4, 0. Sawa? Alafu nachukua negative 1, una substitute hapa. Negative 1 square is 1. 1 minus 4 is 3. Negative 3. Fine? And then negative 3. Negative 3 square is 9. 9 minus 3, the answer is 5. Now, 5 tunapanda. Tukitumia zile diagrams zenye ulisoma kwa differentiation, 5 tunaenda juu positive, because it is positive tunaenda hivi. 0 inakuwa hivi. Sawa? Negative inateremka chini. Kwa hivyo inamaanisha this is the max, it is in the maximum. This one is, we call it the maximum. So it is at maximum when x is equal to negative 2. Next, now we check when x is equal to 2. Tunarudia the same thing. X, when x is 2, tafuta number moja to the right of 2, to the left of this. To the left itakuwa 1, to the right itakuwa 3. Hapa itakuwa dy over dx. So when x is 2, ukisubstitute kwa gradient function itakuwa 0. When it is 3 itakuwa 9 minus 3 itakuwa 5. When it is 1, 1 square is 1 minus itakuwa negative 3. Sawa? So tunataka kuangalia tenager, is it maximum or minimum? So negative number tunateremka chini. Sawa? Negative, it is, we go down. Tukienda chini tunafika kwa 0. 0 ni flat, ni horizontal. Alafu 5, a positive number tunapanda juu. Tunapanda hivi. So when x is equal to 2, we have it minimum. You have seen that? So it is down, horizontal, 0, up. This one is the minimum. Minimum. So by so doing, utakuwa umepata max yako ngapi? 5. Max 5, ukiunganisha na hiyo, utakuwa umeiva vizuri. The distance covered by a moving particle through point O is given by the equation st cube minus 15t square plus 63t minus 10. Find A, the distance covered when t is equal to 2. That is simply substituting. So S is the stands for distance, so S will be equal to t raised to power 3 minus 15t square plus 63t minus 10. Now substitute t when this one be 2 cube minus 15 into 2 square plus 63 into 2 minus 10. You only substitute. This one will give us 8 minus 60 plus 126 minus 10. Finya calculator directly number and you will obtain 64 meters. So the distance when t is 2 is 64 meters. Hapo ni kusubstitute 2t kwa hiyo equation, hiyo function umepewa. Number B, the distance covered during the third second. During. Wakati wote unasikia umeambiwa during the third hour, during the fourth hour. So during the third hour is from the second to the third. So we start from the second to the third. Ukiambiwa during the fourth second, tunaanza 3 na 4. Ukiambiwa during the fifth second, ni from 4 to 5. I hope umeelewa hiyo. So for us to get the distance during, we will get the distance s when time is 3 seconds. We subtract s when time is 2. Now we get s when time is 3. We just t cube minus 15t square plus 63t minus 10. Now we substitute t with 3 when time is 3. 3 cube minus 15 into 3 square plus 63 into 3 minus 10. This one is 27 minus 135 plus 189 minus 10. And this one will give us 71. But distance when time is 2 already tulipata t2, so ni 64. So the answer is going to be S3 minus S2, which is 71 minus 64. And the answer is going to be 7 meters. 7 meters. The time when the particle is momentarily at rest. So at rest, even you, when you are at rest, umerelax, umepumzika, you are just resting. So you don't move. It means the velocity is 0. Whenever a particle is momentarily at rest, then velocity is equal to 0. That is the fact you need to know. When a particle is momentarily at rest, velocity of that particle is 0. It is not moving, therefore it has no speed. The speed is 0. So first, this equation that we have here ni distance. So to get velocity tuna differentiate mara moja. Tuna differentiate once tunapata velocity. So now let us differentiate our equation. So to differentiate this equation, we do it as ds over dt is equal, so that is velocity is equal ds over 2 differentiate. So let us differentiate 3 raised to power 3. Hii 3 inakuja mbele inakuwa 3, alafu inabakisha t. T ilikuwa raised to power 2, power 3. So 3 minus 1, the answer is 2, so tunabakisha 2. Hii t ya hapa, the second term iko na raised to power 2. So hii 2 inarudi pande hii, inakuwa 2 times negative 15 itakuwa negative 30. Alafu tunapakisha t moja. T ilikuwa raised to power 2 minus 1 itabaki t, so hapa ni 1. So hakuna cha kuandika 1 plus 63 ikuwa na t moja. T moja hapa iko na 1. 1 times 63 ni 63. 1 minus 1 ni 0, so tunapaki. Kwa hivyo this is the function of velocity. But now we have said that the velocity is 0, so we equate this one to 0. So 3t square minus 3t, 30t plus 63, the answer is 0. We can simplify this by dividing 3 all through, so we have 3t square minus 10t plus 21 equal to 0. Divided by 3 all through. This one, the product is 21, the sum is negative 31, is very easy. It is negative 7, negative 3. So t square minus 3t minus 7t plus 21, the answer is 0. We group them now into 2. So t into t minus 3 minus 7 into t minus 3, the answer is 0. So t minus 7, t minus 7, and then t minus 3. So t is equal to 7 or t is equal to 3. So the time when the particle is momentarily at rest is either when time is 3 or time is 7. The acceleration when t is equal to 5. To get acceleration, differentiate velocity. You differentiate what? Velocity. You differentiate velocity mara moja, unapata acceleration. So our velocity is 3 t square minus 30 t plus 63. So velocity A is equal to acceleration A is equal to differentiate this one. So acceleration is equal dv over dt. we differentiating the velocity. And this one now 2 inakuja pande 2 times 3 itakuwa 6 t square minus 1, so itapaki t minus hapa t ni 1 itakuwa 30 na hiyo itakuwa imeisha. So our velocity function is 6t minus 30. But we are told when t equal to 5. Sasa una substitute t kwa hii equation, so itakuwa 6 into 5 minus 30, and that is 0. The velocity or the acceleration is going to be 0 when time is equal to 5.